This is Logan, yeah, coming to you guys all the way from South Africa. So this is my Oscar. His name is Gallioth. I'm not sure exactly how old he is. I've had him for about, actually today, no, I've had him for 3 weeks. I've had Oscars before, so I'm just going to give you a little video on Oscar care. At the moment he's about 3.5 inches long. So, first of all, minimum size for an Oscar is 55 gallons. As you can see, I have a 55 gallon tank. I do plan on upgrading soon, or not soon, give it about a year or so, depending on how fast he grows, but minimum 55 gallons. You can't put an Oscar in anything less than that. I mean, these fish can grow. Oscars can, okay, I'm going to give it to you in centimeters, you can work it out to inches, but these little guys, you can see, quite small. Looks tiny in this monstrous tank, but soon he can easily be 30 centimeters. I mean, there are Oscars that exceed 40 centimeters. So you can't have a 40 centimeter fish in anything smaller than this. I mean, if you look from this angle, my tank is 43 centimeters wide. So if my fish gets bigger than 43 centimeters wide, okay, he will not be able to turn around. Okay, you can't have that. Okay, imagine yourself trying to be 2 meters wide, walking through a 2 meter wide door. It's not going to work really well. I mean, you're going to brush sides and it's not going to be very comfortable. These fish become fat, not fat as in overweight. They are thick fish. Okay, so you need to keep your fish's size in mind when buying one of these tanks. I mean, ultimately for one Oscar, 75 gallons is good, and then from then onwards, I mean, you can start on a 55 for one Oscar and then 100 liters extra for every other fish you buy. But 55 gallons, lots of people do it and it works well. So that's number one, is your size of your tank. Second is your heating. So as you can see, my heater is on at the moment. It's running over there. Heating is very important. These are somewhat tropical fish, so your water temperatures need to be warm. Anything between 24 and 28 degrees Celsius. 24 is a bit low. I like to keep mine around 26. I put my heat on 28, but the temperature of the tank's around 26 because, yeah, in the Western Cape it gets quite cool. So the water temperature kind of changes depending on my room temperature and whatnot. But 26 and these guys thrive well. I mean, you can look at this little guy. He's doing well. He's happy. He's hungry at the moment because now I'm up against the glass. But temperature is very important. You don't want to exceed 28 degrees. You can cook your fish, and you really don't want to kill your Oscar, but also too low, and you can also kill your fish. So temperature is very important. Okay, then with regards to water flow and filtration. Okay, so I always say over filter. As you can see here, I have quite a large filter. I've got a bouillon filter. This is a 220 liter tank, but this filter pumps 1,400 liters an hour. So I'm filtering 7 times the volume of this tank every hour. Okay, which is great filtration. You don't want to clean your filter very often. Only really give your filter a bit of a rinse if your water flow from your filter and your pump slows down, because that means your filter is really blocked. But you want to keep the good bacteria in your filter, because that good bacteria helps your aquarium stay an ecosystem. You don't want to kill that bacteria, otherwise it's going to take a while to get it back. And okay, so another question, another one is, as you can see, quickly, let me just get to this point. With regards to substrate, and speaking of bacteria, you see those white bags there? Now, I did a gravel change, substrate change, whatever you want to call it, about 2 days ago. But now what I recommend is you take some of the old substrate and you put it into a stocking or a pool fishnet stocking, anything like that, just for about 2 weeks to get the old bacteria into the new gravel. It helps the good healthy bacteria in the old gravel filter into your new gravel, and it just helps your tank become an ecosystem again quicker, so you don't suffer too much from new tank syndrome. As you can see, this guy's pretty happy. And you can't tell me you're not going to have new tank syndrome. You will have new tank syndrome. So that's why, you know, keep some of your old water. I keep, when I changed my gravel, I kept 50% of the water. I don't do 50% water changes, but with changing the gravel, obviously the dirt and whatever kicked up and the water was quite dirty, so I had to do about a 50% water change. Next, okay, so ammonia, nitrates and whatnot to do with water and water changes. Okay, so what I do is I do a 20% water change once a week or every 5 days. Now that'll change depending on where you stay, what your hardiness of your water is, or your softness of your water. But what I think is very important, don't learn the hobby. Okay, learn the hobby. It's important. Learn what they say, what you must keep everything as, but learn your fish tank. Okay. No two fish tanks are the same. You can make them identical next to each other. They will not be the same. Your water will be different. So my fish tank, for example, does really well. I only have to do a water change once a week. But water changes are good. It takes the old out, puts the new in, but you don't want to do a 50% water change. It's too much water for your fish to adapt to. 20% even every 4 days. Do a 20% water change. Okay? I mean, you could see this guy. I've had him for 3 weeks, but I mean, he's all over the place. He's an active fish. He's healthy. He's going fine. You can't see on my thermometer there, but the water's at 26 degrees, 26.5 degrees, and they're doing well. Also, check your pH, your nitrates. Okay, I've got one of these. I don't know what you guys got there. You dip the little stick in. This has 50 sticks. It's 320 Rand or about $32. I don't know what it's going to be where you guys are. It tells you everything. You have, okay, can't focus there very well, but your nitrates, your nitrites, your pH, your GH, your KH, all of that. Okay, so water levels, very important, but like I said, know your fish tank, know the hobby, but don't keep everything as it says on the internet. Learn your tank and your tank's habits. Okay, next thing, how to do a water change. Okay, don't use a bucket. Easiest advice, get a hose pipe. Stick the hose pipe in, make sure the bucket that you're filtering into is lower than your fish tank, suck on the other end and take it out. And then before you put your water in, okay, you have to do your chlorine tester, okay? You have to, water conditioner, okay? Water conditioners are important. You have to put them in. Mine is 3 drops for every 4 liters, and don't put it in and then put your new water in. Mix it together in a bucket. I actually have a bin which I use. I mix all the water in. I get the temperature right first, so my fish is acclimated already to the water. So the water temperature of my tank and the water temperature of the new water coming into my tank is the same. You put your water conditioner into the water that you are going to put into your tank, because it's not good for your fish. You can kill your fish if you put those products in before you add the new water to your tank. So preferably mix it all beforehand and don't put it in afterwards, because then your chlorine could also be too high in your tank. But like I said, learn the chlorine, the pH and everything of your water in your area, which is very, very important. Substrate. Okay, so I changed my substrate. I had white gravel, which was quite difficult to keep clean because this little guy likes to relieve himself quite often, and I mean, he's only a small little guy. But I keep these stones, they work well. Fine sand's a bit difficult. Sand is easier to clean because it's quite easy to clean because the feces don't really get stuck in it. It sits on the surface, but you suck up a lot of sand. But I keep these stones, it's quite easy. I take the hose pipe, the gravel vac, and I gravel vac in between the stones, and it works really well. So that's what I do. And don't overpopulate your tank, especially with an Oscar. You can fill it quite small. With when he's quite small, you can fill it with stones and plants and wood and whatnot. But as he gets bigger, he's going to need those 55 gallons. Okay, so don't overpopulate your tank with substrate. Okay, as you can see, he loves playing in the bubbles. That's his favorite place to be, especially when it takes him over the top in the water. So always keep that in mind. As he gets bigger, you're going to have to move some substrate out, so he's got more water volume to swim in. Otherwise, it's pointless. You're filling the tank too much, and he doesn't have enough space. So keep that in mind. And plants are good. With regards to plants, I've got a light. I keep my plants light on for 6 hours a day. Anything more than that, really, and you can kill your plants. Also, with regards to plants, I've got an Aquaclaw. It's a fertilizer for the plants. It helps them grow better. As you can see, these plants right in front of me, I got them 2 weeks ago, and they were about 15 centimeters in height, about 6 inches or something like that, and they are now exceeding 45 centimeters. So they're growing really well. Grasses and everything is doing really good. With regards to feeding, feeding. So these little guys are the dogs of the aquarium. They are scavengers, like little hyenas and vultures, basically. I mean, these guys will eat anything. Now, just because they can eat anything doesn't mean you should put anything in their tank. Okay, you can't just go give them anything. People often feed them insects from the garden, and you know, that's fine, but you must bear in mind, insects you find in the garden can easily have been exposed to pesticides, and those things can carry over to your fish, can even kill your fish, and that's the last thing you want to do. I mean, these guys have character. You don't want to kill this little guy. They are beautiful animals. So feeding, I feed this guy 3 times a day because he's young. As he gets older, it'll be twice a day and then eventually once a day. But at the moment, 3 times a day. I feed him between shrimp, pellets, bloodworms. You can feed them crickets, mealworms, peas. They love frozen peas, mealies. You can feed them some fruits, but check what fruits. You can feed them nuts. Don't feed them salted nuts, obviously. Just plain raw nuts. Anything you can really think of, but always check before you just feed it to your fish. Live food, they love live food, but I prefer breeding my live food before I feed it to them, because if you go buy fish from the aquarium, from the pet shop, there's a good chance they have diseases and whatnot, and you don't want to pass that over to your fish. You don't want him to get a hole in the head. That's very difficult to cure. And don't feed them goldfish. Goldfish, there's a good chance goldfish is carrying bacteria. Don't feed them filter feeders. Get guppies. Guppies are perfect. Just feed it guppies. Get a couple of guppies, works well. There's a couple of other options you can feed your fish, but they do really well. Otherwise, these fish are really, really awesome, easy to care for. They are fun to watch when you feed them. They are all over the place. Like I said, they're little dogs of the aquarium. This thing is a whole pride. He's like a pride of lion, all on his own. I mean, when I feed him, he is all over the place. He goes berserk. He loses his brain, and he's just all over the tank when I feed. I mean, as you can see, he just wants to eat, and I'm pretty sure he's gonna turn into quite a big fish. Oh yeah, another one. You can see my curtains closed. Don't let sunlight shine directly onto your aquarium. It will increase your algae growth, and you don't really want to suck up with that. I mean, bacteria growth and algae growth in your tank is good. It means you've got a good ecosystem going, but you don't want too much of that. I don't really struggle with algae growth because I avoid the sun shining on my tank. That's why I get the light. That specific light is a special light. It's not just any light. It provides the right nutrients for the plants and the fish. And I mean, there's his little hide, okay? Hides are also very important. As your fish gets older, he won't really need them, but while he's young, he's going to like them. And then, like I said, gravel change and all of that, filtration, heating. You know what to do now when you do a gravel change. Very important. It just helps your ecosystem come back to its original state by keeping some of the old gravel in stockings, just in the tank for about 2 weeks. Food. This is the food. I break it up. It's actually Tetra Cichlid extra large, 4 cichlids. Make sure you get cichlid food. I break it up so I can feed him like this. I shake this for him and then he gets excited. This is also a conditioner for the fish. It helps them grow better. For their ultimate health, actually. pH testers are quite expensive, but important. You need them. So that's just a rundown of Oscar Care. And yeah, guys, have fun, enjoy it. These are awesome, awesome, awesome fish. I mean, look at this little guy. He has amazing colors. You can't go wrong with them. It's like having a little dog in your bedroom, in your fish tank. I mean, these guys are fantastic. I love this little guy. And there we go. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If there's anything I missed out, any questions, please let me know. This is his tank once again. And below there I have a rainbow shark, as you can see. That is my rainbow shark. He is beautiful. Bit shy, and that's his tank for himself. As you can see, I do the tropically theme. I like it looking natural, not too bright. I like the fish to feel at home as well. That's very important with your substrate. Make the fish feel like they're in their natural environment. It really helps. Oh yeah, people think the bubbles are quite annoying, blowing straight onto the tank. He loves it. That's why I have them facing this way. I had them facing the other way, and then he was on the other side of the tank, so I faced him this way, and now he swims in front of the tank all the time, which I love. And there you go. There's Goliath. Say bye-bye. Cheers, China. I hope you guys have a good day, and I'll be keeping you posted. I'm assuming he's about 2 months old now, 3 inches long, and I'll give you a video in a month, and you guys can see how big he is. Cheers, guys.